I'll be honest. The night before it all collapsed, I didn't feel angry. I felt quiet. The kind of quiet that hums right before the storm hits the glass. It was 2:13 a.m., the only light left in the office coming from the projector that kept looping my boss's keynote slides. His name, Ethan Crawford, VP of Product Strategy, in bold white letters. My work underneath. Every chart, every phrasing, every visionary insight. I had written them all. Across the open floor, the janitor vacuumed around the beanbags, and I kept editing like a ghost, invisible but essential. In less than 72 hours, Ethan and I were supposed to fly to San Francisco for Converge West, the biggest tech conference of the year. He'd talk about scalable integrity frameworks, a phrase I invented while half asleep, and I'd be backstage, making sure nothing caught fire. That's what I did best. Keep things from burning down. Ethan was the showman. Expensive watch, effortless grin, the kind of guy who used words like synergy without irony. I used to admire that. He'd walk into boardrooms and make chaos look like choreography. I was fine staying in the shadows, as long as the paycheck cleared and the system worked. But lately something had shifted. My Slack permissions started changing. Access logs showed my name tagged as read only. 2 vendor contracts for the conference, catering and demo staging, were suddenly reassigned to his personal assistant, and the keynote file, the one I'd spent weeks perfecting, had been renamed Vision by Ethan Crawford. At 3:04 a.m., I saved my final draft to a USB stick, shut down the projector, and whispered to myself, "You're doing all this for someone who won't even remember your name in the credits." Morning hit like a slap. The company cafeteria smelled of burnt espresso and panic. Ethan was already there, pacing near the windows in his tailored jacket, phone glued to his ear. He caught my eye, smiled too wide, and motioned toward the glass meeting room. "Got a sec, champ?" That word, champ, was his way of pretending we were on the same team. He closed the door behind us, lowered his voice. "Listen, about the conference." He hesitated just long enough to make it sound thoughtful. "I've been thinking. You've been under a lot of stress lately. We need a break." At first I thought he meant the team, or the project, but then he leaned forward, elbows on the table. "You won't be coming to Converge, Nate. You deserve rest. Recharge a bit. I'll handle the presentation." He said it like he was doing me a favor. I felt my throat tighten, but I smiled anyway. "A break?" "Yeah," he said, nodding. "Don't take it the wrong way. You've been brilliant. But this one's political. Board members, investors, too much heat. I need to take credit alone?" The words slipped out before I could stop them. His expression didn't change. That was the thing about Ethan. His calm was a weapon. "I think you're reading into it," he said softly. "Look, I'll send you updates. We'll regroup after. Trust me." He stood, ending the conversation like it was a meeting that had gone a few minutes over. But as he left, he did something small, almost invisible. He slid his phone across the table to check a notification, and for a second I saw the screen. An email thread with the event organizers. Subject line, Travel Manifest, Final Revision. My name wasn't on it. By noon, the office was buzzing about Ethan's keynote and how the VP's flying private this year. I watched the chatter scroll by like subtitles to a movie I wasn't in. I spent the rest of the day in silence cleaning digital footprints, vendor invoices, downloaded, source files, backed up, API tokens, rotated to my private vault. I wasn't sabotaging anything, just reclaiming what I had built. At 5 p.m., as the sky went amber over the glass towers, Ethan passed by my desk. "No hard feelings, champ," he said, tapping my shoulder. "Grab some rest. You've earned it." I looked up at him and nodded. Of course. He didn't notice the USB drive between my fingers. That night, I walked home through the city with the conference badge still hanging from my neck. My name printed neatly under the company logo. Nathan Cole, Lead Systems Architect. Tomorrow they'd print new badges without me. But Ethan had forgotten one small, crucial thing. The entire demo, the one that would run live on the Converge main stage, couldn't even start without the physical security key tied to my credentials. The same YubiKey now sitting in my jacket pocket. As I crossed the intersection, the traffic lights flickering against glass, I whispered what I didn't dare say in that meeting room. You wanted a break, Ethan. You're about to get one. 48 hours. That's all it took for Ethan's perfect trip to implode. But it didn't start with fireworks. It started with a spreadsheet. Friday morning, I woke up to 12 unread emails from our travel desk. Subject line after subject line. Urgent, missing traveler verification. The problem? My name, or rather its absence. The corporate booking system still listed me as the primary compliance contact, which meant every ticket under that project required my digital signature. Without it, no one, not Ethan, not his assistant, not even our CFO, could check in. By 8 a.m., they were standing at the airport with first-class tickets they couldn't board. Ethan's assistant called me first. Her voice cracked like a cheap speaker. Hey, Nate, there's some glitch with the manifest. They're saying we need your approval code for the vendor routing. I leaned back in my chair, coffee in hand. That's strange. Ethan said I was on break. Silence. Then, he just thought you could maybe help just this once? I almost laughed. Instead, I opened my laptop and logged the request into our compliance ticketing system, attaching the auto-response template I'd written months ago. Per policy, inactive project leads cannot approve travel transactions. Please escalate to finance. Send. I pictured Ethan's face when the gate agents told him authorization declined. For a man who thrived on control, that word would taste like ash. At 10:42 a.m., another problem hit. The events firm that handled the demo booth sent an invoice marked due on arrival. The card on file, the company Amex ending in 823, had already been declined twice. When they tried the backup card, the system flagged it. Suspected personal spending above limit. I didn't need to guess what that meant. Ethan loved client dinners that somehow always happened in Michelin restaurants with his date of the week. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I picked up. Mr. Cole? This is Stephanie from Techline Events. We're trying to process payment for your booth setup, but Mr. Crawford's account... I'm no longer managing that project, I interrupted. A pause. Paper shuffling. You're still listed as the technical contact in our vendor agreement. I see. Forward the statement to our legal team. When I hung up, I sent a single Slack message to legal. FYI, vendor billing discrepancies. Please verify purchase authorizations under Crawford. Attaching docs. I didn't expect a reply so fast. 2 minutes later, received. Looks irregular. Forwarding to audit. That was the first domino. By mid-afternoon, Ethan was calling every 5 minutes. I let it ring. Then came the email. Subject line all caps. Help. Need urgent access. He'd written, Nate, I know we've had our differences, but I need you to send the hardware token file. The keynote's tomorrow, and the demo keeps asking for your credentials. Just send it. I'll fix your role later. I stared at the screen for a long moment, then typed slowly, Ethan, per compliance, authentication tokens are personal and non-transferable. Please coordinate with IT for new credentials. I'm out on leave, remember? I added the CC line, legal, IT security, project audit. Send. The next call came from our general counsel herself, calm, deliberate. Nathan, quick clarification. You built the architecture for the live demo, correct? Yes. And the source code repository is under your license? Correct. Signed with my PGP key. A pause. I could hear pages turning. Did you authorize any transfer to Mr. Crawford's personal storage? No. Then you should know that repository was copied last night to a private Google Drive. I didn't answer. I didn't have to. The silence said enough. Understood, she said finally. We'll handle the rest. You just stay put. By Saturday morning, the internet had begun to notice. Converge West's official Twitter feed posted a cryptic update. Due to unforeseen technical difficulties, the Crawford Systems keynote will be rescheduled. Comments poured in. Technical difficulties is PR for everything's on fire. I checked my email. 2 messages stood out. 1. From legal. Audit initiated. Thank you for your documentation. Do not delete any correspondence. 2. From conference operations. Mr. Cole, are you still the registered tech contact for the demo stack? Stage feed failure detected. I leaned back, heartbeat steady. They had reached me directly, bypassing Ethan. That meant the system still recognized me as the rightful owner. I opened the monitoring dashboard. The live demo node showed a single red flag. License validation failed. Missing key. N. Cole Zuru 1. That was my name. My key. My fingerprint. At 11:37 a.m., the first photos hit LinkedIn. Ethan on stage, face pale under the lights, a laptop blue screening behind him. The caption, "Rough start for Crawford Systems VP demo. Hope they fix it." In the comments, someone from a rival firm posted a question that twisted the knife. Wait, isn't that the same slide deck from a 2019 white paper by Nathan Cole? 2 minutes later, the white paper link appeared. My name on the byline. Identical graphs, identical phrasing. I didn't share it. I didn't need to. The internet did it for me. By noon, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Colleagues, old friends, even journalists sniffing for drama. I muted everything, made myself another coffee, and watched the chaos unfold in real time. On stage, Ethan tried to reboot the app 3 times. Each attempt triggered the same pop-up. Authentication required. Insert hardware key. He looked toward his assistant, then to the audience, and finally to the cameras. He didn't know it, but every second that prompt stayed visible was time-stamped on the live broadcast archive. I wasn't smiling. I wasn't celebrating. I just felt done. All the nights of unpaid overtime, the ghostwriting, the fake credit, all distilled into one blinking message on a 30-foot screen. Access denied. That evening, I received another email from the conference coordinator. Mr. Cole, we understand you're the registered technical contact for Crawford Systems. If possible, we'd appreciate your assistance restoring demo functionality for tomorrow's program. Please confirm availability. I stared at it for a long time, the cursor blinking like a heartbeat. 48 hours ago, Ethan had said, we need a break. Now the world was asking for me. I cracked my knuckles, opened a new email, and began to type. Not to Ethan, but to the board, legal, and the conference chair. Subject line, Demo Recovery Plan, Conditions for Assistance. I didn't write the rescue plan to save him. I wrote it to protect the work. My fingers hovered over the keyboard while the city outside held its breath between sirens. Subject line stayed as it was. Demo Recovery Plan, Conditions for Assistance, because precision is a kind of mercy. I listed terms like a contract lawyer, not a wounded employee. 1. All communications on thread with legal and audit copied. 2. No transfer of my personal tokens. New temporary licenses to be generated by IT under change ticket ID. 3. Sanitized build only. Exports disabled. Telemetry mocked. Customer data redacted. 4. Attribution corrected where derivative content appears, per internal policy 7.3. 5. I won't dial in with Mr. Crawford. I will brief conference ops and the CTO, nothing else. I attached a 7-page runbook I'd built for chaos. Step-by-step screenshots, shell commands, checksums, even the text the MC could read if things still failed. I signed it with my PGP key, time-stamped, immutable. When I hit send, it felt like sealing a glass case around everything I'd built. The reply came from the CTO first. Proceed, we accept. 2 minutes later, legal chimed in. Acknowledged. Audit remains open. Last was the conference chair. Thank you, Nathan. We'll route on our end. Notably absent, Ethan, I opened a clean container and compiled a sanitized build. The same choreography, minus the pieces that could get us sued. The live license would be minted by IT with a 2-hour window, bound to a generic stage account with zero cross-access. I wrote one command that any intern could paste to bring the demo up in read-only mode. I even replaced the vanity animation Ethan wanted with a static splash. No fonts to crash, no codec roulette. Plain, unbreakable. At 2:21 p.m., a Zoom link arrived from Conference Ops. I joined with camera off. Backstage came at me in fragments, a handheld mic squealing, someone whisper yelling about HDMI, a stage manager counting down in the stiff voice of a person who's run out of patience. Mr. Cole, this is Priya, Ops lead. We're on deck 3. Can you see the diagnostics? She shared her screen. Kernel logs, safe mode. I guided the tech through the runbook. Okay, open terminal. Paste the UID, not the friendly name. Yes, that one. Enter. Now watch the prompts. If you see a warning about export stub, that's correct. Keep going. We reached the license gate. IT slid in on chat. Temporary key granted. Stage. GW. Window expires 16 NAS. Copy that, I said. The shell returned a single, beautiful line. Ready. The node woke up on the network like a diver surfacing. Nathan, Priya said, softer, you just saved our Sunday. I muted and breathed. The point wasn't to be a hero. The point was to end the noise. While Ops tested the flow, a new email surfaced from security with the kind of subject line that changes weather. Preliminary findings, Crawford activity. Inside, bullet points like knives. Unauthorized copies to personal cloud. Expense anomalies flagged by the card issuer. Slides cribbed from my 2019 white paper right down to a typo in the Axis label I'd left as a trap for lazy thieves. Then, please preserve your device. We may image it, I replied. Available. At 3:05 p.m., my phone lit with an unknown San Francisco number. I let it ride to voicemail. Then I played it back. Mr. Cole, I'm Maya with Pulseware Labs. We're across from your booth. If you're open to a coffee later, we'd love to talk. Whatever happens with your slot, there's an empty workshop room at 4:30. If you want to show the clean architecture, we'll host. It would have been easy to say yes in the heat of it, to make the day about revenge. Instead, I typed, appreciate it. If my company relinquishes its time, I'll consider it. Not before. Boundaries are dignity in a world that eats it for breakfast. Ops pinged back. Dress rehearsal at 3:20. Mr. Crawford insists on presenting personally. I warned them anyway. He'll try to run the full path. Keep him on the sanitized route. If he deviates, the app will pause on attribution prompts. That's by design. They laughed, then realized I wasn't joking. I watched the rehearsal through the ops feed, a grainy overhead camera, and a window into the main screen. Ethan strode out in a navy suit and a smile that finally looked borrowed. He clicked through the first slides, which now credited Source, Internal Research, N. Cole, 2019, in small, unmissable type. The room rustled. He pretended not to see. The demo launcher appeared. He reached for the icon with the confidence of a man who thinks the ocean is shallow because he's standing on the beach. He double-clicked. Prompt 1, sanitized mode, confirm. He didn't read, he confirmed. Prompt 2, export modules disabled. Proceed, he confirmed again, a little tighter. Then the line I'd warned Ops about, the one I always wanted on screen when the machine needed to announce what we all pretended not to know. Author credit required. Select module owner. Nathan Cole. Team. Other. He froze. The cursor hovered, then jerked toward team. He clicked. Error. Attribution. Mismatch. The audience heard the beep. Beeps are cruel because they're tiny, and everyone can hear them. He looked off stage. Somewhere in the dark, the board member who'd flown in for this crossing of the Rubicon saw a machine ask a question her lawyers had been asking in email for months. Who built this? Ops whispered in my earbud, forgetting they'd left my line open. Do we tell him what to click? No, I said. Let the system do what it was designed to do. Tell the truth, precisely. Ethan tried again, jabbing at other like the button could make the problem someone else's. Error. Unknown. He laughed into the mic, a brittle sound, and switched to charm. Ha! Live software, folks. You know how it is. No one answered. Charm is gasoline when the room smells smoke. His assistant scurried across the footlights with a different laptop. The same prompts appeared like déjà vu with better polish. This time, he clicked Nathan Cole without saying my name. The app accepted the credit, rolled the sanitized demo, and the graphs bloomed like they always had. Fast, clean, absorbent of praise. For a second, relief actually softened my shoulders. The work worked. Whatever else happened, the thing itself was real, and it held. Then my inbox chimed again. HR legal joint notice. Effective immediately, Mr. Crawford's system access is suspended pending investigation. Do not contact him directly. Route all project communication to the CTO. A calendar invite followed from the board liaison for an informal chat that evening. The ops feed caught one more detail, small and hard to unsee. As the applause sputtered at the end, Ethan turned to leave and glanced back at the big screen. At the attribution footer, my name locked to the corner like a watermark. He reached up as if he could smooth it off the air with his hand. Priya unmuted. We're slotting you for a Q&A at 4, Nathan, if you want it. No drama, just the architecture. I'll be there, I said. No gloating, no speeches. Just the truth laid out in simple lines. On my desk, the YubiKey caught a thin bar of winter sun, bright enough to throw a white keyhole onto the wall. I pocketed it and stood. Time to protect the work in person. I arrived at the convention center just as the late afternoon light began to fade behind the glass atrium. The banners outside still bore Ethan's smiling face, though the color already looked faded, like a poster left in the rain. Inside, the air smelled of cables, coffee, and quiet panic. Security stopped me at the badge desk. I didn't argue. I simply handed over the letter from legal, authorizing my presence as technical liaison. The woman behind the desk read it twice, then nodded. Mr. Cole, she said softly, they've been waiting for you. In the hallway leading to the main stage, the sound of applause was thin and polite, the kind that fills space, not hearts. The Crawford Systems logo flickered on a massive LED wall, stuttering for a second before fading into the neutral conference background. Someone had pulled the plug. Priya from Conference Ops met me halfway down the corridor, headset askew, eyes rimmed red from fatigue. You saved us today, she said, then caught herself. Technically and otherwise, I smiled. I just wanted the demo to work, she lowered her voice. The board wants to see you after the Q&A, HR too, and Ethan's not here anymore. Suspended? More like escorted out. That word, escorted, landed like a stone dropped in calm water. I didn't gloat. I just nodded once and stepped into the backstage wing. The MC's voice boomed through the speakers. Due to technical scheduling changes, we're closing today with a special session, Building Trust in System Architecture, featuring Nathan Cole. The applause that followed wasn't loud, it was warm. I walked onto the stage as the lights brightened, squinting into the sea of faces. Rows of engineers, investors, and journalists, all watching a man they hadn't noticed 48 hours ago. The giant screen behind me displayed the same architecture flow I'd built months before. Simple, elegant, unmistakably mine. I took a breath, microphone close. Hi, I'm Nathan, I began. I'm the guy whose code just refused to lie. The audience laughed, the kind of laugh that loosens tension. I walked them through the architecture, the modular system, the audit-proof data layers, the encryption handshake tied to human authorization. I explained how every safeguard that had protected the demo today wasn't accidental. It was ethical design. Software shouldn't flatter anyone, I said. It should tell the truth, even when that truth is inconvenient. I ended with the same line I'd written in the white paper years ago, now projected behind me. Integrity isn't a feature, it's architecture. The applause this time was different. It wasn't polite. It was real. Afterward, in the quiet of the conference lounge, the board liaison approached me with two others, the CTO and a woman from HR I barely knew. They looked tired, deflated, but respectful. Nathan, the liaison said, what you did, both the recovery and the documentation, saved us from an incident that could have cost millions. We're grateful. I just followed policy, I said. She smiled thinly. You wrote most of those policies, didn't you? I shrugged. Someone had to. The CTO stepped forward. We'd like you to stay on. In fact, we'd like you to lead the systems team moving forward. Clean slate. Your way. I looked past them toward the glass doors that opened to the conference floor. Outside, the Pulseware Labs director, Maya, was waiting, hands in pockets, watching. Her booth's logo glowed, steady and sharp. I appreciate that, I said, turning back to the board. But I think it's time for me to work somewhere my name doesn't need permission to exist. No one argued. The HR rep nodded, slid an envelope across the table, formal acknowledgement of misconduct by Ethan Crawford, suspension pending investigation, all documents preserved. At the bottom, my own name under primary author, clean, legal, final. That evening, I walked through the exhibitor floor one last time. Vendors were packing up, cables coiling like tired snakes. Someone handed me a coffee and said, "You're the guy who fixed the demo, right?" I smiled, nodded, kept walking. Maya caught up near the exit. "You meant what you said about truth in code. That wasn't just rhetoric, was it?" "No," I said. "It was self-defense." She grinned. "We could use that kind of self-defense at Pulseware. You should come by tomorrow. No promises, but I think you'll like the offer." I hesitated, then handed her the card I'd been carrying since my first conference years ago, the one that still read Nathan Cole. Architect. No company name. Just me. "I'll be there," I said. 2 weeks later, the company issued a bland press release. Ethan Crawford has decided to pursue new opportunities. We thank him for his contributions. No mention of the audit, no apology, just the quiet erasure of a man who'd built his career on other people's silence. And me? I didn't bother to reply to the emails that followed. I'd already signed with Pulseware. Full autonomy, clean IP, my own team. My first project, a platform for verifiable authorship, where every commit, every slide, every word carries an indelible signature. At the next Converge West, a year to the day, I stood backstage again. Same venue, different badge. Nathan Cole, Principal Architect, Pulseware Labs. The MC introduced me. I walked on stage, clipped the YubiKey onto my lanyard, and slotted it into the demo port myself. The app booted in 2 seconds flat. The logo pulsed alive. The audience erupted. I didn't smile until the final slide appeared. A white screen with a single line of text in the corner. Author, Nathan Cole. No prompt, no approval required, just truth standing on its own.